Welcome to another episode of Tony Sway's True Hollywood Stories. This is Making Beats in Diddy's Mansion, episode 3. So let's get right into it. So, I'm out in the Bay Area, I'm living out there, right? Trying to get my music popping off, right? I'm like, damn, I think this, I just have big visions in my head. I'm in my early 20s, and I'm thinking, man, I think this is gonna be it for me. A lot of my connections are down here. Just from the Bay to LA is a really easy commute. It's a short flight, so I'm like, let's do it. So, chilling. My boy Quincy hits me up and he's like, yo, let's link up. Let's work on a couple records. So I'm like, let's do it. So I go from the Sacramento airport to Lax, and then that's it. So I'm a little short flight, posted up and stuff like that. Yeah, maybe I probably had like a little flight sickness or something like that. I get a little flight sick sometimes when it's a bit hot. So going into LA is very hot, as you know. So pull up, Quincy's there. He got the Corvette on fleek, you know what I mean? He's swerving, and you know what I mean? We're hitting like 100 miles on the freeway, you know what I'm saying? So like he's testing that out. We're on the freeway, plotting what we're about to do in the lab. But first things first, we pull up to Diddy's LA mansion. Obviously, that's where he was living as well. And so we're there, right? Takes me up to the room. He has a home studio there. So he's like, yeah, just get it on and popping. So before we go to the main studio, just lay down some beats here as well. So I'm laying down beats in the home studio, got the keys. It's going mad on the keys, you know what I mean? I'm super inspired because that's the first time I ever been there. That's the first time I ever been there. And it's just wild. I'm sitting here, I'm like, damn, I can't believe I'm in Diddy's mansion. All the history behind like everything that I've listened to, the history, just thinking about, all the hits that were made. And it's just wild thinking about it, you know what I mean? So I have the utmost respect, and I'm just like, but at the same time, I'm just like tripped out. I'm like, how is this small town kid from, like a hole in the wall town, right? Wind up in a place like this amongst all these people who's accomplished so much. And so I'm playing on the keys, working on these beats, and I'm just tripped out, right? So it's just wild. So dropping the beats there, I think I'm using Logic or something like that. I'm getting it on and perking, on and cracking, and then Diddy got the whole Revolt team downstairs like dancing to the 10-year anniversary of all the Bad Boy hits, so they're going wild. I can somewhat concentrate, but it's a little bit hard because you got like everything's bumping, like just the whole, all about the Benjamins is like, imagine it sounding like you're at some kind of Woodstock crazy concert. That's how loud it was. Like it went around the whole mansion. So I'm working on my beats upstairs in the home studio there, and then at the same time I'm hearing all the Bad Boy hits play because Diddy's downstairs. And got the Revolt team. So this was around the time he was starting that company. So they was having a big team meeting. So I'm up there just trying to work on beats, but all this at the same time listening and hearing all the stuff going on and all the music. So I'm hyped, and it was like a crazy situation. So I'm thinking, all right, this day is crazier than I thought. So that's not it. So right after that, we rolled to the main studio. So pulling up in the vet. Going to the main studio, first thing I see is a Justin Timberlake plaque, Future Sexy Love Sounds, I think. And I'm like, okay, I already know this place is important. There got to be some heavy hitter producers and engineers and writers up in here. So I sit down, and I believe this is 2010. Sometimes I get the years mixed up, but I'm pretty sure it's 2010. And I start talking to the engineer. Then I find out he's Michael Jackson's engineer. And I'm like, I was like, what the hell? Like, Michael obviously had just passed in 2009, so I'm sitting here talking to his engineer, and he's telling me all these crazy, wild stories about Michael in the studio. And I forget some of them, obviously, because I was nervous. I ain't gonna lie, I was a little nervous. I'm around all these big-time hotshot people, and I'm just that small-town kid, from Washington State, you know what I mean, Seattle. And so I'm sitting here talking to Michael Jackson's engineer. I can't remember his name, but he was a really humble, great guy. And he was telling me that Michael would be in the studio saying, yeah, do you think that's good enough? Was that on key? And he was just telling me how humble Michael Jackson was, and the fact that obviously he was the king of pop and this musical icon, but that's just how humble and passionate he was. He respected other people's feedback. He would ask them if that was right or was that note on or off. So he was just sharing those stories with me about Michael. I was like, man, that's crazy that he had that much humility being who he was. And that really spoke to me as a person, being like, you should always be a student, especially when it comes to your craft. Like, so the way I look at music is just always be a student of the music. Never think you're too big or that you know everything. Because if Michael Jackson was like that and he listened to his engineer's feedback, then in my opinion, I better be like that, and I think everybody else should as well. It's like, be confident, but at the same time be open and to feedback and things like that, which that really spoke to me. You know what I mean? So that was crazy, but yeah, that was it, man. So from Diddy's mansion to the main studio, so Diddy's mansion, home studio, then to the main studio, seeing all these crazy plaques, and, certified multi-platinum, Justin Timberlake on the wall, and then Michael Jackson's engineer, and then of course laying down tracks with my boy Quincy, and it was like a really amazing experience. So after that, pull up to like, I think before I went home, I got some like Chick-fil-A or something like that. So bro was like, hey, you gotta try this Chick-fil-A. I know you on a diet, but you gotta try this Chick-fil-A. So I was like, all right. So yeah, Chick-fil-A, that was the only time I ever had Chick-fil-A. Or yeah, I think that was the only time. Yeah, I think that's about the only time I ever had it. I eventually had it again, but that was maybe the first time I had it. So yeah, and that was pretty much it. And then I just rolled back to the, Sacramento airport and was back in the Bay Area, back just to work on my beats and my everyday disciplined life that probably was a little bit boring compared to what I had just did. But I'm just this small town dude, being able to have these amazing experiences because I'm putting my music out there, I'm sending my beats everywhere. It was just a really incredible experience, and it wasn't the last. There was several more, and there's going to be some more in the future, but I have so many stories to share with you guys just from over the last 10 years of my grind. And that was it. That was my time at making beats at Diddy's mansion, and I appreciate y'all. God bless y'all. Peace. This is your boy Tony Sway. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Hit that like button for your boy. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to keep these beats coming, and I'm going to keep sharing these stories with y'all. Alright? Tony Sway's True Hollywood Stories. Holla.